A VPN can hide all of these, but only if. That is the topic of the day. But first, my name is Steve Smith. This is TQA Weekly. I got two announcements. First one's for YouTube. If you look down below and you're watching on YouTube, there's a join button. If you become a member, you'll get a small icon that says you're a member, access to 4 emoticons, and I'll have other stuff for you in the future. You'll be able to probably see these videos in advance of every single other person, and of course, you'll be part of our family. Doing so will help me out and help me make this show better. I also have a community tab, so I will be posting more information for all of you so that we can actually have more to share during the week. I'll be posting stuff about my show and other people's stuff. So if there's anything I find interesting from different channels that you might actually want to bring up with me, then I might actually post that for everybody in my own community, my own family, to actually see. The second thing is, if you are viewing this on YouTube or anywhere else in the world and you want to have access to these episodes in advance, there is another method. You can go straight to our website, tqaweekly.com. Go to the accounts section on the menu, click register, and once you are logged in, you'll have an ad-free experience where you can go to the support section and support me with any amount that you want, anytime you want, if you even want. And guess what? You'll have access to the episodes 2 days in advance of everyone else, have special feeds to be able to download them automatically to your favorite RSS feeds, and of course, be able to comment along other people's on a website that I personally moderate and check on a daily basis. Those are the two things I had to say for today. There is no more Patreon for this channel because this is going to be a lot more easy and a lot better for every single person. I won't be giving you any pictures by the mail or anything like that. You'll get small little stuff that I can give for free in terms of digital stuff or early access. And of course, you can always suggest other stuff to me. So, what can a VPN hide, but only if? Let's talk about VPNs. VPNs are a great tool. They're great for the security aware, for those who want to protect themselves, go around the walled garden, avoid a multitude of dangers online, keep your privacy, and a whole bunch of other stuff. There's a few details though you got to be thinking about when picking a VPN and worrying about what happens around it. So a VPN does hide your traffic. So if your intent is to hide your traffic from the ISP, your ISP is definitely not capable of knowing what you're doing online. It is mostly undetectable, and therefore, there shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't. Thing is that every time you type a domain name in, there's a DNS server request. If your DNS server request is being fulfilled by your ISP, they don't need to see where you're going. They have some idea of what you're doing on the internet, and this information is definitely useful for them. I'll get to that later. So you have to be aware of the DNS server you are using, and if your VPN has one, you better be using theirs instead. Then again, your VPN does hide your traffic, and you may be able to hide your DNS name server requests, so your DNS requests, by having a fully integrated DNS server. But it is still possible for your ISP to cut the connection. As part of their service, they may be monitoring everything and seeing that you're using a VPN. And it's not completely impossible for an ISP to want to just kill your connection. And therefore, you have to make sure there's a kill switch in the application, or the methodology you use for your VPN has to be airtight. Therefore, when they do kill the connection, whether on purpose or by accident, right, that there is no data leakage whatsoever that could potentially endanger someone's life. I'm not just talking about North America. There are people in the Middle East that have to use VPNs, or people in various parts of the world who have a set amount of information they need to share that is dangerous for their own life. Therefore, you definitely have to make sure that the VPN service you are using does have these kinds of things in place. So making sure your DNS server requests are not being fed to an ISP, that your VPN application has a kill switch is definitely not just convenience, but can be life-threatening if it doesn't exist. Then there's also the fact that, especially for people in North America and across most modern countries where greed is the engine of the ISP, there is definitely a strong monetary benefit and reason for your ISP to be collecting all of the information about your navigation habits. Why? Because they collect all this information and they sell it to third parties. It's not enough to block third-party cookies and block ads and block a whole bunch of stuff on the internet. You have to be able to hide your traffic too. And doing so means that you have to use a VPN if you don't want your ISP to be gouging you even more than they are already charging you. This is one of the reasons why having privacy laws against them doing that and having net neutrality is definitely important. Therefore, they can't shut down your VPN whenever they want, and they can't sell your information. So be sure that you're paying attention to that information on their websites and make sure that they're not gouging you even more than they should be. And then again, you also have to consider what kind of information is being recorded from the VPN itself. We're going to be analyzing the VPN now because you have to deal with this most important detail. First, is there information being recorded, and why do they record it if they even do it at all? You have to think about the location of the business. If a VPN comes from the United States, they're definitely recording your information. Many countries in the world require traffic logs to be kept and that can be subpoenaed for so that they basically can give the information to law enforcement and governments. And they don't necessarily have to notify you since it's not your information, it's their information. So you have to keep that in mind. So making sure that the VPN server exists inside, the VPN service exists inside a privacy-oriented country is definitely important. So an American VPN is probably a bad idea. Of course, it's not just the United States, it's a bunch of countries, but that's the ones that I know. Then you also have to consider how they make money. That might seem like an unimportant detail to a lot of people, but if they don't charge you anything, they probably sell your information just like an ISP does. There has to be a way that they can justify how they are running. And if they're not charging you, then your information is being sold. Remember, whenever the service is free, you are the product. So it is better to pay for a product than be the product, especially when privacy is something that is required. So make sure that you are getting a service that requires that you pay anything so that you're not actually the product itself. So just make sure that you read their terms of service, the privacy policy, that you're aware of all the laws of the country that they're currently situated in and function from primarily, and that, of course, that you're not getting a service for free because you are the product at that point and therefore the information is being sold. That might be a lot to take in, but your VPN choice is just as important as dealing with your ISP and the dangers of being on the internet. So, just to recap, a VPN can hide all of your traffic from your ISP unless you use their DNS, or if your VPN service fails to terminate the connection immediately when the connection is severed, and can only be considered safe if the service is within a privacy-oriented country with no laws requiring the recording of traffic, and only if the VPN service itself has a viable means of generating revenue that would ensure it would not have to rely on selling traffic logs to third parties. So just pay attention to all that and the terms of the service and privacy policy as well. Like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't, share with those that you think can benefit from this, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics for me, ask@tqaweekly.com is my email address. TQAweekly.com is my website. And of course, like I said before, you can register and get all the episodes 2 days in advance of everyone else, comment with others, and get a whole bunch of other stuff as well as our Discord from our website. And of course, if you're on YouTube, you can click the join button down below, have a special icon for yourself on the channel, get your own emoticons, and help me out in that way as well. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.